Welcome. I'm Vaishnavi, Head of Marketing at Systech Solutions. Whether you're joining us for the first time or the fifth time, glad you're here. You're watching Data Alchemy, our webinar series that's dedicated to turning complex data challenges into clear, actionable business strategies. We move past the high-level theory and we focus on what actually works in the modern data stack. We've already covered, different topics like Gen AI, cloud FinOps, self-service analytics. And today we are tackling one topic that determines whether your data platform is high-speed engine or a total bottleneck. In my conversations with data leaders, the biggest frustration isn't the quality of data. It's the latency of access. So several organizations are finding that traditional governance designed only to protect is actually restricting the ability to innovate. And today, we intend to change that. We are moving from gatekeeping to enablement, not less governance, but smarter automated governance that operates in the background. So your teams can move with speed without trading, without trading with compliance. So this is an on-demand session. So go at your own pace. And now let me bring in the person who's going to show us exactly how to build this. Our guide today is Renga. Welcome, Renga. Great to have you here.
Vaishnavi. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me in this beautiful webinar series.
Fantastic. Renga is an architect at Systech Solutions, and he brings over 10 years of expertise driving data modernization across complex environments globally, including finance, manufacturing, public sector. And as a Snowflake certified architect, he's led enterprise scale programs across the globe. What makes him the right person for this conversation is his ability to bridge the technical infrastructure and business accountability. He doesn't just design governance systems, he gets organizations to actually adopt them. And he specializes in building data ecosystems that are structured, compliant, scalable, and most importantly, trusted. Renga, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Vaish. Thanks for that warm welcome. And once again, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining in today's session on data governance that doesn't slow you down. In today's data-driven world, governance is critical, but too often it becomes a bottleneck. In this session, we will explore how to build a governance that is not only effective and compliance, but also lightweight and automated and helps the modern team work. With that, let's see what's in our agenda today. We will start with the biggest challenge most organizations face today. Then we will walk you through the principles of governance, how it looks like, and how that makes it more agile and scalable. From there, we will look at the governance operating model, how roles like data stewards, data owners help remove bottleneck. And then we will also walk you through a practical governance framework which you can apply today in your world, focusing on things like classification, lineage, access control, and data quality. Then we will see how governance can be embedded directly into your day-to-day workflows and delivery, instead of being it as an afterthought. And finally, the most important, how we will scale the governance across the organization without disrupting the teams. So by end of this session, you will have a clear approach to build governance that supports speed and not slows you down. Okay, let's jump into the core problem. Most of the organization today struggles because they don't struggle because they lack governance. They struggle because how it has been implemented. Governance in today's world is often centralized, meaning every decision goes to a single team and every approval goes to the same team. All these manual approvals, either at email or ticket, causes delay. Ownership is unclear. Rather, I would say everybody is owner of the data and no one knows who is actually responsible for it. And governance is often introduced after delivery and not during the delivery. All this results in the team getting blocked and eventually starts bypassing governance altogether. Now, this leads into inconsistent data and duplication and loss of trust on the data. So, what does modern governance looks like instead? This particular slide shows me how governance is shifting towards more practical, business-aligned approach that enables data use rather than restricting it. Let's first talk about the risk-based governance. Not all data needs the same level of control. For example, PII data or financial data should have a strict access control, masking, and audit trails. But some data like aggregated sales data can be more openly accessible. The goal is to focus on the governance effort where the risk is highest, and this avoids over-engineering and keeps team productive. Now, secondly comes the automation. Manual governance simply does not scale in modern data environment. Think about an environment like data lake or fabric. Data is constantly moving or changing. Instead of relying on people to personally go tag every data set or document lineage, you can use tools to automate. So what tools can bring in? Tools can bring automation on classifying sensitive data, example like detecting a credit card number, detecting a SSN number, right? And capture lineage across the pipeline right from the start to the end of the, and also enforces access policies dynamically. For instance, when a new data set is created, it can automatically be inherited with a sensitive label and access rules, and no manual intervention is required. Third, a clear ownership. Governance fails when everyone owns the data, like I said, which really means no one does take the responsibility. Each data set should have a business owner responsible for its data quality, access approvals, and business definitions. Take for example, a sales team owns a revenue data, while finance team owning financial reporting analysis. And this ensures accountability and faster decision making when an issue arises. Finally, let's talk about embedded governance. Governance should not sit outside as a separate process. What it should do, it should be built within into an everyday workflow. Take for example, data quality checks should run automatically within the pipelines. Let's take another example. Access requests are integrated into DevOps or data catalog workflows itself. Or a metadata is captured as a part of the data creation and not afterwards. Now, what does this mean? The user don't have to feel governance is friction. It just happens as a part of how they flow. When you bring all of these together, governance becomes scalable, it becomes frictionless. But principle alone are not enough. What you also need is the right operating model, which we are going to see next. To make governance truly work, roles must be clearly defined. Without clarity, governance becomes slow, fragmented, and ineffective. First, let's talk about the roles which we have defined here. A governance council. Now, this role in most of the organization today, it is operational. Rather, it should be strategical. Now, what is this? What is the focus of this particular role? They have to focus on policies and standards, prioritize the use cases, and lay down the governance roadmap. And they should not handle day-to-day access approvals. That is where most of the organization go wrong today. And secondly comes the data owner. Now, these has to be business leaders and not an IT people. The focus of this one is to decide who can access the data and how it has to be used or managed. This brings in a business control. For example, head of sales would own customer pipeline data, and he decides who needs what level of access. For example, a regional manager would require a certain level of access than an analyst would. Now, these details will ensure decisions are aligned to business value and not just technical rules. Coming to the third, data steward. These are responsible for data quality, definitions, and consistency. So, think of them like a guardians of trust in data. For example, ensure revenue data is defined the same way across all the reports. Now, they also do monitoring of data quality, which is identifying missing or inconsistent value. And also the role for data steward is to bridge the gap between business and the technical teams. Now, last but not the least is the data custodians. Now, these are typically IT or platform teams who can handle technical implementation. Now, the role of this one is to ensure access controls are enforced, data pipelines are secured and reliable, governance policies are implemented in the tool. For example, they configure role-based access in platforms like Fabric or Snowflake. So, the key shift here is moving from centralized control to a distributed ownership like this. Now, this removes the bottleneck and speeds up the decision-making process. Now, let's make this practical. At the top are the 5 core capabilities of modern data governance: discovery, classification, lineage, access control, and data quality. These are foundation. Regardless of what the tool be, governance comes down to getting these right. Now, let's walk them through quickly. Data discovery. You need the visibility of what data that exists in your ecosystem. Without that, governance cannot even start. Today, this is automated. Tools can help scan, catalog, and make data searchable. Second comes the classification. Once the data is visible, you need to understand the sensitivity of the data, like PII or financial data or the confidential ones. Modern platform automatically detects and tags this, enabling consistent policy enforcement across this ecosystem. Now, third comes the lineage. This is about traceability. If something breaks, lineage tells you where the data came from and how it got transformed into and where the data is landing to. Now, this is critical for trust, compliance, and even impact analysis. Fourth is the access management, ensuring the right people have the right access, no more, no less. Now, this is where a governance directly balances security and usability. And finally comes the data quality, because governance only matters if the data can be trusted. Automated checks for freshness, completeness, and consistency are now becoming standards. Now, how do you actually implement these? At the bottom, the tools fall into 2 categories at a high level. So, the first one is governance first platforms like Microsoft Purview and Collabra. So, they provide a centralized governance layer across your ecosystem. Now, Purview is strongly technical. Automated scanning, cataloging, and lineage, especially within the Azure Fabric, are the key features of Purview. With Collabra, it is more business focused. Data ownership, stewardship workflows, and business glossaries are the key features for Collabra. Now, it makes governance understandable and usable for the business users. Second comes your platform with the embedded governance. And this is where the shift is happening today. Snowflake builds governance into the platform. Key features like fine-grained access control, data masking, and secure data sharing without duplication are really keeping that governance in place. Databricks has a Unity catalog that can extend governance into analytics and AI platforms, covering data, pipelines, notebooks, your jobs, and AI models even. Here, governance happens in real time at the point where the data is being used. So, what's the key takeaway here? Governance is no longer a separate layer. It is becoming an integrated, automated, and embedded into the workflows. And most effective approach is by combining central tools of visibility and platform tools, native capabilities for executions. This enables key strengths, which is automation at scale, embedded governance with no friction, and trust high quality data. And this is what sets the stage for next step, embedding governance into the everyday workflow. One of the biggest shifts in modern governance is this. It cannot be separate step. If governance sits outside the process, it becomes slow, manual, and often be bypassed. Instead, it needs to be embedded directly into how it is being built, moved, and it is being consumed, which is across the pipelines, your DevOps, and every day-to-day workflow. Now, it starts with the data pipeline where the data is created, transformed. Here, metadata is captured automatically, classified, and lineage is generated as the pipeline runs. So, governance isn't documented later, it is created as a byproduct of this execution. Then it extends into the DevOps. Now, policies can be validated before deployment. Access controls can be enforced through code, and data quality rules tested just like application logics. Seems that governance become part of this release process, not as an afterthought. At the same time, metadata is continuously captured and uploaded, not manually maintained, so it stays accurate. Issues are detected early and bad data can be stopped before it moves to the downstream. Now, this is where data quality runs in real time. This results in a simple but a powerful way. So the governance becomes more invisible, but it always runs in the background. There's no extra steps required, no frictions, just the trusted data by default. And this is what makes governance scalable. But because once it is embedded, it works consistently across your teams, platforms, and domains. Now, one important point before we jump into the governance scalability. Governance should not be implemented at all in once. A big bang approach almost always fails. It becomes too complex, too slow, and hard for the team to adapt. Instead, what you can do is to start small, focus on high impact areas, and this could be a critical data domain like customer or a finance or a key use case like regulatory reporting, etc. The goal is to show the value early. Next, build a strong foundation. Establish a core capabilities like cataloging, classification, lineage, along with a clear ownership and basic policies. Think of this as your minimum viable governance model. Once this is in place, expand across the domains. Take what works and replicate it across the teams, data sets, and the business units. As you scale, shift to the standardization and automation. Now, consistent policies, automated classification and lineage, and embedded quality and access control are applied later on. And the key takeaway is governance is not a one-time effort. It is an incremental journey. So let's start small, prove the value, scale systematically, and that's what makes it more sustainable. So the key takeaways from this session. Modern data governance is not about adding control layers. So it is all about removing frictions through automation, clear ownership, and embedded processes so the team can move faster with confidence. It can bring in effective governance when business and technical teams share responsibilities like data owners, data stewards, custodians, right? Enabling faster and more informed decisions. And governance always works best when it is built into pipelines or the platform or the DevOps process, making it automatic, scalable, and invisible to the end users. So the future of governance isn't more control oriented. Rather, I would say it is smarter, automated control built into how each and every teams work on a day-to-day. Now, with this one, I'll bring this session to an end.
Thanks, Ranga. I think great insights highlighting the shift that governance doesn't slow the team down, but the way it's implemented is. All right, we are now moving into our Q&A. We pull the questions directly from our most recent customer conversations, the real world hurdles team face when they are rethinking their governance approach. So, Renga, let's get into it. All right. The first question that we have is, how do you prove to a skeptical team that this actually removes friction instead of just digitizing the same bottlenecks?
Correct. Okay. So that's exactly the shift we are seeing today. Say governance slows down team when it is manual and it is centralized. Talking about automation, when you embed into a workflow or define a clear ownership, and when it is completely automated, where you can automate your classification, your lineage, etc., right? It actually removes delays. So the goal isn't less governance, it is like how smarter governance that can be operated in the background, not at the front end.
Thanks, Renga. Fantastic. That reframe that matters a lot. All right. With platforms like Snowflake, Databricks, and Collibra, all leading with governance features, where does the tool end and the operating model begin? Where should a team actually start?
Okay, tools are important, but they are not the actual starting point. Without the right foundation, right? So even the best governance tool cannot solve the governance challenges. The real value actually comes when you define the right operating model, defining the clear roles, ownership, accountability, and the process, right? So that is where you start with creating the right operating model, define the principles, define the right use cases, then think about the tool as an automation or a step where you can scale it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Renga. I think that the sequencing that you highlighted, I think that's really important, especially for the teams feeling pressure to buy a platform before they have defined the model. Hope that's helped the audience understand this better. All right, the next one. When organizations try to scale governance beyond a single pilot or domain, where do they usually trip, and how do they get past it? If you can spotlight that.
Oh, very well. That's a good question. Thanks for bringing it up. Okay, so the biggest challenge what I see is trying to scale too quickly. Okay, now I don't, like I mentioned in the slides, right? You don't go big bang. Okay, what we have to do is start with a small, standardize it, and then go scale it. The solution works better when you have a strong foundation and a standardized process, and then expand it incrementally. So automation also play a critical role in the scaling effectively.
Fantastic. And I think that's the advice I wish more teams heard before they started, and not after the first rollout stalled. All right. Finally, when governance is working the way it should, what actually changes? Like, this is day to day for the business teams using the data.
Okay, so the biggest impact what I see is faster access to your trusted data, and teams can actually spend less time in validating the data, rather than they can use it more or analyze it or play with the data for their futuristic AI and ML purposes, right? And it also reduces the duplication of the data, and put up strict compliances in place, build confidence in the analytics and the AI initiatives is what I feel.
Thanks, Ranga. I think that's fantastic. Framing governance is a safety rail and not a speed brake. That's the mindset shift that this conversation needed. So great. Thank you for that, Ranga. Now, to everyone watching, if your current governance model feels like it's slowing your teams down more than it's protecting them, let's talk. Reach out to us at marketing@systechusa.com and explore our full on-demand library at systechusa.com/webinar. And also mark your calendars on May 7th, the next session in the Data Alchemy series that covers agentic AI for ESG and sustainability reporting, how AI on modern data platforms can turn raw invoices and bills into executive ready insights automatically. Until next time, keep transforming your data into decisions. Thank you, everyone. Take care.